Hey everybody, welcome to another XP Network Friday night live stream. This is a one-of-a-kind, first time ever stream quest. So I'm going to explain some rules here, but first, I'm Jason Horonsky, your host. I'm here with Richard and Chance. We're going to get into some of the things we did at Origins this year, which was very much about questing. Before we do that, and before we jump into our first quest, I'm going to explain the rules of questing on stream. And this is definitely our proof of was there no bard? You guys had a fighter with a guitar. Where was the bard? Where was the bard? Well, this Origins, we only chose the top 4 main classes. And as you probably know, in Pathfinder, you can kind of combine those classes into other classes. If you just take any 2, you can, or any 3, you can kind of turn them into the other 20 something classes that exist. We have 16 main classes, I believe, that we intend to have at conventions in the future, hopefully at Origins next year as well. If you missed the whole thing, we're going to give you a lot of details on what happened at this event. I believe for the first time ever, we accomplished what at least I feel like is actually gamifying a convention. It's not just scavenger hunts and go collect a trinket. It was truly, you need to make real choices. You need to try to defeat things. You need to level up a character. You align with a certain class. In this case, it is Pathfinder 2.0 with an official partner with Paizo. So while we explain this, so how this is going to work, you need to stay for the entire stream. There is a QR code below. The first one is going to be our first quest. In this case, the quest is called The First Spark. You're going to find out during the first quest why it's called that and a little bit of the story behind what we were doing at Origins this year. And you'll get XP every time you do this. So you'll automatically get a new achievement into your account, and you'll automatically get, in this case, 100 XP when you scan the first spark. Be aware that there is about a 5-second delay from live to stream. So if it gives you an error, it's a 60-second refresh on these QR codes. So just scan it again and it should pop up. If you complete all 3 of the steps of this quest, you will get a bonus for the completionist that comes with a special gift from XP Network. And we will be carrying this all over next week to continue the quest that we were doing at Origins. So I guess without further ado, let's start with Chance. Who are you? What do you do? And then we're going to get into quest 1. We'll go real quick on it.
Nice to meet you all. I'm Chance Lepre. I was the experience director for the show. And Jason and I met on a whim at Gamma. It was just this crossing of the night kind of thing where I was there for show reasons and he was there for XP Network reasons. And then as we got talking, we were talking business about it all. It came up that I've been doing long form high engagement format, which is what we ran at Origins for a very long time throughout my career. And he went, wait, you used to do the old fantasy park, of which name I won't say for my own psyche, but yeah, he said, I gotta have you in. We basically are able to do a long form improv kind of medium while we're playing a character or getting you, the players, which in our case, you are the heroes to our story. Therefore, we are the NPCs that need to give you every world building narrative possible to give you the best experience it can be by being the most authentic characters we can be, while also delivering all the points and all the bullets that you need to succeed. Because like I said, we're not the heroes in the story ever. That's exactly who the players are. And so that's what it's all about. And that's what we brought to the table. Rich threw together, he had the entire narrative design ready to go. He had the system ready to go. All we had to do was bring it to life. And for what it was worth, having XP Network in the application like as a design tool or as a methodology tool is something that me and my assistant producer Mallory, who's there with me, if you saw pictures of her, she had either a white coat, she was one of our clerics. Actually, that jacket I'm very, very jealous of, even though I have a giant 20-pound leather duster most of the time. And it's we have strong debates around the actor pool of like who's got the best accessories. And for what it's worth, my giant leather jacket is hard to beat. However, we've always talked about digital tool, and the digital tool that we used at Origins alongside Rich's system was perfect to walk into, because when we don't have to take a system, we don't have to build a system from scratch, and we just walk into a space like, hey, the system's done, the story's good, here are the hard points that we need. We're like, great, we have a tavern, LFG, let's go, like let's make it happen. And so I have a long career in entertainment. I've been doing live event shows for a very long time. I've been a producer. I'm a professor of animation and video game development at a local university. and kept this pool of fantasy nuts together for a long time, and we've been running shows that gets to bring it to life as effectively as possible. Most of the time it's been production of like, hey, we're running conventions, we're just doing, we're doing basic live show kind of stuff. So it was really, really fun opportunity to like, it's a very quick way to get people to think. And that's actually one trick that we use a lot, that we used at Origin specifically, because at conventions, at high format conventions, the part that we all, it was fun to agree with have a team that it almost felt this immediately, especially XP with Richard, with the entire crew. The hard part about a convention is that we all want to feel something we probably haven't felt at a convention in a very, very long time. You're kind of dying for that first experience again. And you always go back looking to make the most out of your small minutes or the most out of the show. And the two things people always remember: your favorite part of the show and how long you waited in lines. That's the review for everybody all the time. And so when we were able to create an experience that was, hey, in your small minutes, you're a fighter. Welcome to the guild.
I've got something for the chat here. It looks like we are getting some dropped frames, at least on Kick. So we're gonna kill the Kick chat just at least temporarily, if not permanently. But yeah, well, and then we'll go ahead and go in. So Richard, you are our game master, our puzzle builder. You are the gatekeeper, core gatekeeper for the dungeon, which is a whole nother prop setup that we had outside of the tavern. So tell us about that. So who are you? What do you do? And your experience with XP Network. And then we will get into the first quest. This was kind of a longer intro, but there's a lot to go over.
Oh, yeah. So my name is Richard Davis. I'm a professional GM. I've written a bunch of content for Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, that kind of thing, thanks to the OGL, which is very nice and its own topic. But as far as games go, I have been playing games for as long as I can remember. I actually learned how to read in order to play video games. So I was doing so at 4 years old. And that's actually when I started playing D&D. I just turned 5, and my dad was like, now's a good time to teach you about Dungeons & Dragons. It was 2nd edition back then. So yeah, I've been doing that for ages, and
it's a really cruel way to learn math. That's a really cruel way to trick you into learning math.
Well, on the plus side, I actually know how to do math, which is oddly rare. But at the same time, I've also met Jason in kind of a funny way. I was at the Las Vegas Renaissance Fair, and you meet all kinds of people, these sorts of things, and they can talk themselves up a little bit, shall we say. And I was just being polite because, he came up and was telling me about all these cool things he's done, and I did not think it was real at first. And then he's like, oh, I gotta go. Anyway, here's my card. And I take the card, I'm like, okay, that's what? Because it was just this metal card, and I'd never seen that before. So it turns out he was real, which was crazy. So, yeah.
And you one of the chunky purple business cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The American Express business card is what we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But actually what attracted him over to the booth I was running was the Arcane Lock, this book of over 300 riddles we have for Dungeons & Dragons and that kind of thing. And he just saw this and thought it was a really cool idea, and he calls me almost out of the blue, like several months ago. It's like, hey, you know Pathfinder, right? Yes, I know Pathfinder. It's like, cool. Got those puzzles. And then it's had this giant thing where we made this whole dungeon experience, which was massive. Oh my gosh. Setting it up was also hard, and then we had to put all the riddles on the walls. So you have no idea how many riddles got cut from this thing. It's kind of a oh my gosh. But regardless, it was a lot of fun, and really using the XP network in order to kind of help people get into the dungeon as well as get in character for going there was such a big deal, because people had so much more fun because they were in character, they were their class, they were doing all these things, they discovered the dungeon or scryed or illuminated the dungeon based on their class. So they had all of these interactions with it beforehand, so it kind of built up the hype for it before they're actually able to go inside.
All right, so we did a long intro. I kind of warned everybody we would. This is the first ever interactive stream quest, so I expect some clunkiness. And that's one of the reasons why we didn't tell anyone we were doing this until the last minute. Next week with the Bard quest, we will be telling everyone that participated. There was 1,104 participants in the quest at Origins. which for a pretty low attendance year, I think is a massive amount of engagement. 47% of those questers completed their entire quests. It's pretty insane. It was a lot of engagement. They were definitely having fun. That kind of stat to complete the entire
industry ever.
I think we beat every analytic you normally do.
That's an insane amount.
So thanks to bringing the technological and game design experience to life to our cast, which Richard is not a professional actor, but acted just like the professional actors as the gatekeeper in the dungeon. And that dungeon was essentially a full escape room. It had 13 total riddles and Easter eggs you could discover in it. A lot of them gave you special things and special achievements. And the Horde, for instance, would give you 1,000 XP. If you had the Sizzle rune from the rune quests attached to your character in the second slot while you discovered that, so it's the Sun rune, then you would also double that Horde to 2,000 XP. It was 1,500 XP to go through the dungeon, which is also interesting in itself, that the entire economy of everything you did at Origins was based off of the XP you were earning for doing things at Origins. So the 1,500 to get into the dungeon you would get by completing any of the classes and then going to the final step. You get 1,400 XP. Go meet Richard and you'd get that extra 100. We had a daily stipend at the main XP booth. We were very much all over the hall of 100 XP just for showing up every day. It was the king's stipend to just show up in the marketplace. You get 100 XP for showing up. And so we had people that ran through that dungeon 3 or 4 times to go find extra Easter eggs, unlock every single thing you could do, make sure they got their fire resistance pins and they got their scrolls to go help battle the dragon, the mother of all dragons, and we'll get into that. And so anyway, it was a lot of fun. We had a huge activation. We had 20 rune quests around the hall, all over the convention center. We had the fighter, the cleric, the rogue, and the wizard quests. We had friends quests, secret quests, partner quests, the exhibit hall quest, the dungeon. It was really, really fun. And now, getting into quest number 1, we have the first spark. So while we go into this, I'm going to read what this is, and then we're going to explain to you why we have this artwork, why we have this theme. This is taken actually directly from the Dragon's Lair of the dungeon. So when you look at this artwork, scan the QR code below, you'll get the first spark. And its story is: a single ember, ancient and forgotten, stirs in the darkness. The dragon's covenant has chosen you. The ember alone is not enough. Seek the second flame before the covenant fades. So if you don't scan step 1 of this quest and you go to step 2, you can't ever go back and get step 1. This is kind of the unique part of doing a stream quest, is you have to engage the whole time. So this is our first part. Now, team, tell me about the dragon, the mother of all dragons. What was the story here, and why are we focusing on the flames in the dragon quest? That's posed to either of you. Chance, or Jax, you've spoken the most about this to a lot of people. What was going on in the kingdom, in the realm?
I guess, in character. The entire reason we were here was that bounty poster on the back of the tavern. I happen to love these schlubs, and so I got these schlubs paid. They're offering 500 XP for us to take down a dragon alive that had been rampaging and burning their towns and killing their villagers. And frankly, that never sat right with me. But as a guildmaster, ethics are not the issue. It's getting paid and making sure we get another job. And that was typically how the hook would go. One of my favorite things to do was seed the doubt immediately and have people reread it a couple times. Like, what didn't sound right about that? Like, why would they capture it alive? I don't know. It's not my job to know. It's my job to get you paid. And then when they would come back at the end and hit me with, how did we defeated the dragon? We defeated the dragon. Congratulations. How did it go? We slayed it, and now we have a baby. What do you mean you slayed it? Is that? Well, you probably knocked it out. Now they captured it, which means that we have another problem. Do you think that was the right way to go about it? And then they're like, what do you mean? Call it a hunch. And off they go. Like, wait, do we have to go back? We have to go back. And you'd watch them rush back into the vendor floor. Like, gotcha.
So Richard, our story for the Mother of All Dragons is kind of unique because all over the tavern you have these dragons wanted alive and dragon related posters and plaques and things. And unfortunately, we actually had a lot more props that didn't get to make it because this was a 7-week build out for the show. We did not have a lot of time to plan for this. We had no graphics, no team, no game, no anything 7 weeks before Origins. And we were like, well, we have this quest system. Let's make it happen. So there's a couple things that would have made it a little bit more clear. But either way, the dragons, the mother of all dragons, in the storyline, what do they find out in the dungeon about the dragons? Let's just start there. Oh, and before we do that, I think we need to move on to quest number 2. So we'll continue to explain it, but you guys have had quest step 1 up for quite a while now. This is more of a first come, first serve collector's item for this week. You're going to collect XP. You'll be the only ones with these achievements. But anyway, Richard, tell us about these dragons and what were they really doing here?
So the entire story behind the dragons was the mother of all dragons was, as you might expect, a mother, and dragon eggs tend to fetch a very high price on various markets, as do dragon scales, dragon tongues, dragon everything. So all of these people who were here before the Pathfinder Society decided that, maybe we should just take a couple of those, maybe loot a couple dragons, steal some kids, that kind of thing. Humanity's the bad guy. What a surprise. And so then what ended up happening was the mother of all dragons was a little bit perturbed, as you would be. And all of the bounties about this came about because of the righteous revenge she was taking upon everyone. But it's a little hard to see that from from several thousand miles away. So that's why we were hired as adventurers to go and take care of the dragon in some way. They might have also suspected something was a little bit wrong, ergo the capture alive, please, because this was not a problem, and dragons, as you are well aware, live for thousands and thousands of years. If this dragon was truly evil, you would think that would have popped up beforehand rather than just sudden burn everything.
Yep. So we are the bad guys. We've been capturing their babies, the mother of all dragons' babies and eggs. So what happens when we defeat the dragon?
So when you defeat the dragon, that proves to her that these people actually have some sort of power behind them, and they are here. They can actually converse with her in some way. She can influence them. So that is a way for her to sort of give you these eggs as a show of goodwill, and you are also powerful enough to defend them, which her main goal is to defend her children. So if she sort of sublets that job out, then she doesn't have to defend everything everywhere all at once. It's not a siege situation for her anymore. So she now has the Adventurers of the Pathfinder Society, which is a really big group and very, very strong, to help defend her and her children.
Yep. So they get the baby dragon familiar for defeating this. So this is why we never actually said you kill, you slay, you destroy the dragon. You actually just defeated the dragon, and then the dragon convinced you that you guys are being stupid. And if you just work for me and help me, you get a dragon familiar, and you can go help defend the dragons from the realm. It was a really cool little storyline. We missed out on some cool dragon eggs that were going to be all over the hall. We missed out on a few baby dragon puppets. Our dragon animatronic, this was actually our backup that you'll see in the videos and stuff, but the one that was supposed to be there was a actual Universal Studios 9-foot smoke breathing, roaring, blinking, flapping, ridiculous giant dragon. Our backup, Spirit Halloween version wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. So I do have a couple comments and any other so in Quest 2, before we get into Q&A, I want to say, so as the GMs and the puzzles, tell me anything else you want about the dungeon before we finish up the second flame, and then I'll take some Q&A and move on to the final beacon, which is our last step of the quest.
Well, the creation of the puzzles was a lot of fun. A couple of them I did take from that book you saw that when you were at the Vegas convention when we met together. But I think one of the things that really made the dungeon come together more than anything else was the fact that we had Chance and all his actors to kind of help run this thing, because it kind of came alive when you had, the Mad Alchemist or the Rune Keeper or the Arcane Eye, the one who was helping you to fight the dragon. And all of these things just really made it come together as one cohesive whole rather than, just kind of a cool puzzle thing in the background.
Yeah, it was a blast. Unfortunately, none of us took the horizontal video. We all did the kind of lame upright phone videos. So that's too bad. But we do have those for shorts and things you can go check out. Go to the XP Network YouTube, and we have a pretty good representation of at least some of that. Not all the rooms of the dungeon are up yet, but I'm sure we'll have those. So we're going to get into some Q&A. Be sure to post your Q&A at least on YouTube. And I think it can go on Twitch. I don't know if Kick is working, but first thing we have is comment from Twitch. Loved this questing at Origins this year. Thanks, Chance, being a fantastic guildmaster and a wizard mentor. So that's coming from someone that clearly was a wizard. Another one from YouTube.
Hey, excellent.
Yep. Wife and I had a great time with your quest and experience you provided in the tavern, Rogue and Wizard. Thank you for the great memories. Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's what well, actually, it's two different people, a Rogue and a Wizard.
Been a good duo, a good party. We love it.
Mm-hmm.
A comment from Dan. Shout outs to Dan. You shocked me there on how much background you knew about XP Network and how many things you've joined in the past before all of this. I think originally a Looney Labs fan, and then came in and just like knew everything there was to know. I mean, you were like training new players like you were one of our casts. So that was crazy. But just he said, enjoyed the quest this year at Origins. I mean, we did too. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you helping out on all that. So now going into, there's some comments there. Going into quest step 3, the third beacon. This is worth 250 XP. Coincidentally, tomorrow is also the 250th anniversary of the United States of America and the 4th of July, and we get to blow up things and eat barbecue the 250th time in a row. So the final beacon. 3 flames united, burning as one. The dragon's eyes open for the first time in 1,000 years. The dragon's covenant awaits, but only if you have completed all 3 steps. If you did, look at your XP Network profile or notifications up to an hour after the stream to redeem your reward. You actually get it automatically, but you'll get your reward, which is a little special gift for being a completionist. So now we're going to go into Chance's experience, and you gave a lot of it at the beginning. But during the final beacon, we're going to talk just you and the cast, your experience with XP Network, with Origins, just in general at the show.
The running the tavern is probably my personal favorite part, and it's actually not for the front end. It's specifically for the back end. So as we explained to the crew, we used to call them like campfire talks, because there's this thing that happens with players, which is, as soon as they get engaged, as soon as they get comfortable with it, as soon as they're playing, they've experienced the story, and there's inherent need to not necessarily want more, but just to be a part of it. And so for hours after the show, like we narratively called them the vendor wilds, was like the vendor hall. Go get lost in the vendor wilds. There are plenty out there who are willing to help you. Like they've got beacons already lit, ready to give you items for your adventure. That was the whole sell for all of our partners. But after it would close, you'd still people come through, they'd hang out, they'd just like want to talk, they just want to chat, they just want to exist around the characters with each other. We saw people, and this is the takeaways that I always take, right? The systems were great, the story was fun, but the one that hits the hardest is that there was these 2 sets of players, of a couple and this woman who had a couple players with her as well. There are 5 of them just sitting down at the table, and I forced them to talk, as every good I was going to say manipulator. That's probably a sharp word. We'll stick with it. Every good guildmaster or manipulator should do that, has a positive moral compass. That's right. I'm like, talk here. You have the cipher. This person's working on it. Talk to them, right? Work together. They ended up talking about fertility troubles that they had as couples, and like how their family was dealing with it, and how their couple dealt with it, how their husband, what they were going through, different supplements they were working with, different ideas that they might have had, and they ended up connecting in the real world. And now, last I heard was a message I got on Facebook that they wanted to say thank you because they had found friends through something and shared experiences, and that's the whole bloody point, right? And so as amazing as the crew is to work with, it's those moments exactly that I will always take away from doing this exact type of thing, because like they knew nothing of each other 3 days straight. And then we just got them to sit down and help with a cipher. Your common interest is the fact that you're a wizard, wizards work together because I told you to. Go get it. And the next thing you know, you found friends that you never would have expected to meet, right?
It's like the XP network effect.
It's the network effect.
It's like it's almost entirely what we strive to do every single day, is to bring people together using technology to take you out of your technology. It's the weirdest strategy ever, where we're like, we need you to use this phone, so you put your phone down. I don't know any other tech company that's how we think, but that's how we think, right? So it's like, use this. The time that the customer, or in this case the player, spent on the phone was like 3 to 6 seconds at a time, or they're going to read their next thing. And then the rest of the time they're in the story, playing the game, having fun, meeting people, doing friend quests, joining their other guild members, or joining other classes to go have the most efficient battle against the dragon before they knew that we shouldn't have been killing the dragon in the first place. But nobody knew that, right? They didn't know our story yet.
We did end up setting up a looking for group table. Like, that was the thing that we ended up having, because people were like, we don't have any fighters in our group. What can you do? Well, you're going to talk to my fighter captain first, and he's going to send lone fighters to that table. So you need to sit right there.
That's awesome. So I'm going to open up Q&A, because this was a kind of a longer show to explain the quest system, the streaming quest system. So next week, bear with us next week, because it may also be kind of clunky. I don't believe people have played games on stream before with a chat. This is a little bit different, because we're making you actual characters. We're giving you choices that affect your bios. And in this case, it will be the highly anticipated bard that was all over the internet yelling at us. Why was there no bard? Well, there's going to be a bard now. We listened. And as long as we can get that arch from Paizo, I believe it will be no problem on time before next week, next Friday to be specific. And it's going to be a cool experience where we are live role playing. I believe I'll be representing the chat as our kind of beacon, as our character. And then I believe Chance will be playing the bard. Richard will be the GM, as is probably the most appropriate. And we'll go through this journey together to level up from level 1 to 5, just like you would have done at Origins in an RPG streaming environment. Because I don't think this is a thing that happens very often, and we will be doing our research to see who's done this kind of thing extremely well, and what can we take from that, and what can we add to that. We'll be definitely listening to your feedback. This won't be the only chance to get the bard. I know that will be a big question. It won't be the only chance. It will be the first chance to get and level up your bard character. Otherwise, we're going to open the floor to final Q&A, and then I'll let you guys have some closing statements. Let's see what we have here. Comment from Twitch. Chance, your acting was amazing. Hope you all get a lot of partner deals working with you. Kindness on the internet. Love it. From Twitch, best guildmaster ever. It does help that none of the other guildmasters are represented here.
I was the only one. Thank you very much. I was the guildmaster. That was me. They were all class masters.
Well, that is a good point. So great guild mastering.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Don't forget to scan the third beacon quest step right now. It is your last chance to get it. Even if you didn't get step 1 and 2, you still get 250 XP for this one. If you did all 3 steps, you will get a little special bonus achievement, and it is called the Dragon's Covenant. And it's obviously themed with the whole dragon, flames, and dragon storyline that we built out for this quest for Origins. I'll give you guys a few more minutes to talk about any kind of Q&A. In the meantime, do you guys have any final statements for the viewers and leading into next week?
I think one of the things that I wouldn't say was a surprise, but was very nice to have, was through the entire thing, the more the players got engaged with it, the more they were able to like help other people, as Chance was saying. But like even at the dungeon, we had like groups of 2, groups of 3, just one person over there, and everyone almost, I think every single time I asked, I'm like, would you be able to partner with the other people? That way we can get more people through the dungeon. Everyone's like, yes, I want to do that. So everyone just kind of glomped into these giant groups. It was amazing. And there were people, as you mentioned, who went through multiple times. I remember one lady in particular went through the dungeon, I want to say 5 times, just because she wanted to help everyone get through it. She loved doing these things. She loved helping people. And it was just great to see people like this all over the convention, because that was just really nice, them getting into character and them just trying to help each other was great.
I want to point out that she had to collect 1,500 XP every single time she went through it too. So that means to help those people, she had to go either multi-class or go find some of the bonus XP hidden quests that we had for many, many different things. And instead of spending it on soda or games, which you could spend your XP on then, and even after the show, you can spend your XP or save it up for the Nintendo Switch or Comic-Con exclusives or any of the affiliate stuff on the global store. You can convert your XP to the global store anytime to go buy those items on the XP Network store. You can also save it for next Origins. She selflessly sacrificed her XP to go help them get through the dungeon. That's crazy nice of her.
Yeah, they're just great people all over the place.
And for me, that's kind of the beauty of having my closing remarks are literally just the best part about running this in what would be considered, a niche down community for convention, right? Because it's not a pop culture con, it's not a general gaming convention. It's specifically meant for tabletop board gaming, TTRPGs. Is that whenever you sit a bunch of us nerds around a table and bust out Pathfinder, that's all we want to do, right? That's the point. You just want to get into you want to play your character, you want to be the DM, or you want to. And also, there's no DM on Earth who would be like, "No, playing today sounds great." Like there's not a single one who would say no to that, because once you're in the DM chair, you're never allowed to leave, and playing once in a while is lovely. And so having an opportunity to come out and be like, "Oh, cool, I can do this in the interim. I don't have to prep too much." But having that niche community that was immediately able and willing to like jump in and give us that trust to play made the experience so much easier for us to get them the best experience they could get, right? Because the faster that they're willing to play with us, the faster they can have a good time. And it was great to be at Origins where you have a community who's ready to do it. Like they're kind of primed for it, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was a great place to kick it off. Origins was a fantastic partner throughout this whole thing too, like giving us the freedom to do many of the things we did. A lot of it at a hefty cost, but the space that we were able to take up because they believed in this vision that we gave them, and they had to just trust us that we're not just a Joe Schmo off the street and saying we're going to do some big event. It really was what we promised it would be and more.
And the tavern and the dungeon were not small.
No, they weren't. They required multiple trips to buy taller ladders to put together. They were big. They were 12-foot tall, custom designed, custom gamified, riddleified tavern and dungeons. Plus, we had the swag outpost and the HQ where you could go get your stipend, and then 20 pop-up banner rune quests for the ancient cipher all over the hall. And that's just some of the many, many things that we had to give out. Like the ribbons are really cool, but we'll give those out just about any time we go to a convention. These kind of hats we usually have, they didn't show up. There was a bunch of like really cool stuff that just didn't make it to the show. This was more of a quality control issue. I'm on my third production of hats now to just match this quality, but I do want everyone to have really cool XP Network hats available and other swag. Not just from our partners, but from us directly. I want to hear from the community. Fantasy is one of my favorite themes. It's not everybody's favorite theme. We can theme these to be just about anything. And our partners are really excited to do quest pop-ups similar to what we did at Origins at local game shops. And we're going to probably start it at local game shops, but also other conventions. We attempted to do a huge activation at Gen Con, but there's a thing called Gen Con priority points, and we are a new company, and we don't have any priority points, even though all of us in our team over the years have collected hundreds of thousands of those from our other publishing companies. We're treated as new. So getting the space at Gen Con is very difficult. We do have a lot of partners that have a lot of space. The activation time is extremely limited. So we will be at Gen Con at a very limited capacity. But while we're gearing into next year and into other conventions throughout the next several years and other game store activations and local play activations, quests can be anything you want them to be. In fact, the quest feature that we used to build the whole thing is a feature that players can use and store owners can use and GMs and DMs can use around the world to create their own experience exactly like what we did at Origins. And if you were lucky enough to play at Origins, you know what it is. You can duplicate that to be Call of Cthulhu themed, to be cyberpunk, to be Mad Max, to be, whatever theme you want, sci-fi, it could stay fantasy. It can be any IP, it can be any theme that you want to play in. and live that kind of like live action RPG feel at another level than what is typical. And we did use D20s, and like we had giant foam D20s, and we did a lot of like physical activations, and the combat was cornhole. It was a cornhole combat system because it was fun. But we can do anything you guys set your minds to, and so can you. So I want you to be aware, users can become quest makers. So this will be a fun feature. You guys can all start building just like we did and learn. You can go down these rabbit holes. XP Network can do, it's so powerful. You can do so much. We've just scraped the surface of the capabilities of what all the features can do. And we're as creative as you are is about as much as you can do on the platform. And we're not the most creative. We've designed some games and things, but we're just getting started. From Twitch, we're going to have some final comments. It was your last chance to scan the third beacon to get your Dragon's Covenant. So we have from Twitch, it looks like it's Jinto Lin. Would you consider doing any quests for those that can't make it to Gen Con online? Hopefully partner vendors may be interested in advertising to the audience or people unable to make it to Indy. Yes, actually, these streams are like a great way to engage in a quest without having to go anywhere. A lot of the quests you can kind of just do for signing up. Not all of them, but some of them you can. It is a really good question. It appears to be the only question left as well. So on top of adding like a digital way to engage when you can't make it to a convention, because we don't want anyone to miss out on I mean, you're going to miss out on the live action stuff because you're not there, but you should still be able to participate to earn achievements and get XP and do cool things, especially for the partners. One of the things we are going to be focusing on, I don't know if anyone's heard of, I think it's called Magic Quest. Or if you've gone to Harry Potter World at Universal Studios, you can get the wands and interact with things. There's some things at the old park that Chance/Jax worked at. They did similar things. Our technology actually makes that one of the easiest things to produce ever. We can make hardware that does that kind of thing as a quest interaction in like a day. So creating that hardware for kids to be able to interact, because one of the things that we noticed, there were a lot of kids, most of them were playing through their parents' devices that were the like under 16 age group. I still want them to be able to have the best experience ever. Most of them still had a blast. I mean, one of these kids was probably 10 years old and went through all 4 classes and played the whole game.
Kid was grinding.
Power gaming.
His mom was like, "You have 5 minutes left." He turned to me like, "What can I do in 5 minutes?" I was like, "Okay, here, this, and this. I'll see you in 4, I guess."
That kid, every class, as we mentioned, brought them to the dungeon. So I saw him every time. He just like sprinted. I was like, "Okay, I'm here to discover the dungeon." Like, okay. What I have to do is you have to go in front of this curtain here, and then you must throw back your head and laugh in the face of death. And then he, did so and came back and just ran back 5 minutes later. Now I'm here to scry the dungeon. Okay. And then we just go through everything. It was so much fun.
Yeah, we had 8 completionists that did all 4 classes all the way to level 5, which was the max you could do at Origins. In the future, you will be able to continue your quests past level 5. That's one of the obvious things we're going to do. And we'll be adding more classes. It might be more difficult since we can expand on the game. It'll feel more like an RPG every time we do this. But anyway, I want to make sure everyone is aware. We want everyone to be able to play. We want everyone to be able to play whether you're there or not, whether you're whatever age or not, whether you have a device or not. So one of the things that didn't get to happen this time is we didn't have any physical books for the underage kids that didn't have the phones to go through. We wanted that. We also wanted some collectible cards to replicate the digital achievements so you could get those, as you're playing. We will be adding that. And we're going to be doing as much as we can to engage with everyone that wants to play. So that is our time for the XP Network live stream Quest Early Access. Thank you all for viewing. Thank you for joining us and testing this live stream Quest technology. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it works and everybody got their XP. We did have a little bit of technical issues this time, it looks like, but I don't think it was too terrible. Just a few drop frames every now and then. Next week, I'm hoping that does not happen at all. But otherwise, you guys have a great 4th of July weekend if you're in the U.S. If not, have a great 4th of July weekend if you're not in the U.S. And we'll see you next Friday for our live gameplay quest session.
See you soon, gang.